Welcome or welcome back, crocheters. Y'all absolutely loved my market bag sew, and I made the mini version. It is super cute, super easy, and beginner friendly. All you have to know is how to chain, single crochet, double crochet, slip stitch, and decrease. So just a size comparison, this is the regular and this is the mini. The pattern is almost identical except the stitch count is a little different. If you've already done the regular market bag pattern, we're familiar with the way it's constructed, then I went ahead and just included chapters so you can skip to the part you need. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more beginner friendly, easy, non-complicated patterns. I used 2 skeins of the Bulky Twist by Loops and Threads that's available at Michael's.
I used a little under 2 skeins. You can use any yarn though.
4 stitch markers, scissors, and a darning needle. 5.5 millimeter hook. Make sure you have enough to weave in. Take 2 fingers, cross it, grab with your 2 fingers, and pull. We're going to chain 25. 1, 2, 3. You should have 25 chains on the hook. We are going to skip that first stitch and we're going to work into the second stitch doing single crochets all the way down. So just keep going all the way down. Our first row, now we are going to chain 1. You're going to turn your work and we are going to do 8 more rows. So go ahead and make your 8 rows and then meet back up with me.
And we are going to mark the last stitch that we did on row 9.
All right, now we're going to be working in the round. For the corner stitch right here, we are going to add 3 single crochets exactly where we worked our last stitch. So 1, 2, 3. 8 single crochets going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to do 3 right in the same stitch for our corner. 1, 2, 3, and you can just tighten your last.
And your first stitch of this row is going to be in that same corner. It's very important that you do not leave the stitch out because you will not have 24 on the side and you have to have 24 on the side. And then all the stitches get a single crochet, so you should be left with 24 when you get to the end.
All right, so I should have 24 stitches, so I'm just going to double count and make sure. All right, I double counted and I do have 24, so if you don't have 24, then you probably need to add 1 more stitch right here and then do your stitches again. Now we're going to do 3 in the corner, but guys, don't skip ahead because in this corner we're not going to do 3. So go ahead and, okay. 1, 2, 3. So now we have 8 on the side. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I'm going to add 2 more. I'm not adding 3. I'm only going to add 2 stitches to this corner. 1, 2. All right. All right, so now we should have 24 stitches left, and you should end at the stitch marker on your 24th stitch. So go ahead, make sure you have 24, and then back up with me. 22, 23, and 24 is on the stitch marker, so that's perfect. Okay, so you should have 75 stitches all around. So when we started, right here, we had 3, we had 8, we had 3, we had 24, we had 3, we had 8, we had 2, and then we had 24. So if you add all that together, it equals 75. So now I promise it's really easy. Now we're gonna do 3 rows of single crochet. So
Go ahead and do those 3 rows and then meet back up with me.
right, now we have the base of our bag. So now we actually don't need the stitch marker for a while. So this very next stitch, you're gonna do a slip stitch.
Now you're going to chain 3.
And we're gonna do 2 double crochet into that same spot. 1 and 2. So this is gonna be our granny cluster.
And so this is going to be our granny cluster. Is going to have 3 double crochets. We're going to skip 2 stitches and we're going to work into the third doing another granny cluster, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. So we're just going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, skip 2 stitches, granny cluster, 2.
And this is super duper easy, so go ahead and keep watching
Skip 2
if
stitches.
you want to watch me do a few more. Otherwise, you can just pause it and continue
Working
on.
into the third.
Otherwise, you can just pause it and meet back up with me when you're ready to move on to the next row.
2, 3, skip 2 stitches. So go ahead and continue this all the way around and meet back with me when you get to the very end where we started.
Right, now this row is completed. We are going to just work a slip stitch into our third chain, chain 3, and add 2 double crochet, and that's how we're going to add each row. Just like that.
And you're just going to keep working your granny clusters into the spaces. So we're going to be working a total of 14 rows of these granny clusters. Those are rows 6 through 19. So go ahead and put on a movie, put on a TV show, go ahead and enjoy this time. And when you have all your rows complete, go ahead and meet back up with me and let's finish this mini market bag. And this is how I count my rows diagonally going across. You should have 14 rows total. And you're going to slip stitch it into our third chain of where we started. Chain 3, and these clusters are going to be a little bit different than what we've been doing. We're going to do a triple granny cluster, so 3 double crochets. I'm going to refer to that as a triple cluster. And now we're going to do a double cluster, so just 2 double crochets. And we're just going to alternate that going all the way around. So now I triple. Three double crochets. Now I double with 2 double crochets. Go ahead, you can pause it here and meet back up with me when you are finished with this row. It is going to end in a triple cluster, and that's fine. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. We are going to slip stitch it into the third chain from the top, chain 3. For this row, we're going to be doing 3 sets of double clusters and 1 triple cluster. So that was 2 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 2 double crochet. So we're doing 3 doubles in a row, and then we're going to do a triple. So that was our last one. And now we're going to do a triple, which is 3 double crochet in our cluster. And that is the sequence. I'll go through it one more time. Again, that's double, 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 triple. So we have a double, a double, and a double. And now we have a triple. 2 and 3. So that is the sequence. Go ahead and finish off your row and meet back with me when you're ready to move on to the next row. All right, so for this next row, we are going to slip stitch where we started at the top of our chain. And we are going to immediately just start single crocheting, and we're going to mark our first stitch for row 22. So go ahead and single crochet your entire row. Don't miss anything. And meet back up with me when you are ready to move on to row 23. All right, we have made it to row 23. So we are going to remove our stitch marker, yarn over, and we're going to immediately go into our half double crochet, insert our hook, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. That's a half double crochet. And we're going to do that for the entire row. So go ahead and complete your row and then meet back up with me. Row 24, we're going to be doing a half double crochet, except we're going to be going around all 3 strands from our half double crochet. So you can see there's like a strand right there in the middle. We're going to make sure we get underneath that. So you have 1 in the back, 1, 2, and 3. So just go underneath all 3 of those. And that's what that's going to look like. And again, we're doing half double crochets. And you want to have normal tension for this. You don't need to make it any tighter than what the hook is already doing. So go ahead and finish this row. And this is the last row of the main piece of our body before we start adding our straps. So go ahead and finish this and meet back up with me. I'm going to show you how I like to slip stitch the end of it so it flows really nicely. Right, we have made it to the end, so I'm actually going to skip that first and I'm going to go into the next doing a slip stitch, and I think it really makes it less obvious that we started right there. So you want to have your bag flat as possible, make it as centered as possible, and we're going to count 8 on each side. And we're going to mark both sides, so we're going to have a total of 16 between each stitch marker on the sides. I get mine as straight as possible, fold it in half, and then I just count to 8. and then I mark it. So again, I have 8, so I'm just going to count 8 on the back, make sure it's all lined up perfectly. It's right there. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side.
Obviously, you can adjust the strap to your own length. If you are a shorter person, you might need a shorter strap. If you're tall like me, then you might do good with this one.
For row 25, I'm going to be starting at the stitch marker on the right. I'm going to slip in some yarn and I'm going to knot it just for a little extra security. And I am going to be chaining 70. So I'm going to slip stitch it in again and chain 70. Make sure that your chain stays really straight and even. You don't want it to twist or twirl or anything. Chaining 70 is perfect for me, and you can also adjust the chain to whatever length you prefer. We are going to slip stitch it into the base. And we are going to single crochet all the way till we get to our next stitch marker. So I'm just doing a single crochet. I am going around all 3 strands of our half double crochet that we previously did. Here is the next stitch marker. So we are going to slip stitch it where we had our stitch marker. And you're going to chain 70 or however much you chained for your strap. But again, we're going to want to make sure that you don't twirl it, don't twist it, make sure it's completely straight before we slip stitch it to our next stitch marker. We are slip stitching it into our base. And now we're going to single crochet back to where we started. Again, going around all 3 strands. All right, we made it back to where we started. I'm going to slip stitch it into the last stitch of the row. And now I'm going to single crochet into our chain. Again, you want to make sure that this is staying as straight as possible. You don't want to see the back bumps. You want to make sure you are single crocheting onto the braided portion. Feel free to pause it here and you can keep doing your strap and meet back with me when you get to the very end of it. All right, you should be at the end of your strap. And we are going to do a slip stitch at the first stitch of the base. So slip stitch it in. And now I'm going to do single crochets all the way until we get to the next strap. So go ahead and pause it here if you need to, and feel free to pause it here and meet back up with me when you're ready to do your second strap. All right, you should be at your second strap. We are going to do a slip stitch at the last stitch of our base. And we're going to single crochet or chain. Again, you want to make sure you have, that's the back bumps, and you want to make sure you have the braid. Make sure it does not twist. That would be terrible. Go ahead and single crochet your strap, and I'm going to show you once again what to do when you get to the end of it. We have made it to the end. Now I'm going to slip stitch it into the first stitch of the base, and then single crochet all the way to our stitch marker. For row 26, we are going to be doing a decrease. We're going to pick up the front loop of the last one of the base and the first one of our strap for this side. So you're picking up the front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. That is a decrease. So we made those 2 stitches, 1, single crochet all the way until you get to the other side. We're going to do that same thing on the other side. And to make it easy, I'm going to put my stitch marker 3 stitches over. So it's right where I need it to be for the next time I need to use it. And you're just going to single crochet until you get to the end. I'm going to show you once again what to do for this end. We're going to be picking up the front loop of these 2 stitches. So the front loop of the last stitch of our strap and then the first stitch of our base. You're going to yarn over. We're marrying those stitches and then we're going to single crochet until we get to the end. And we're going to repeat that on the other side. So just remember it's the last and the first and then the first and the last. And you're going to meet back up with me when you get back to your stitch marker. All right, you should be at row 28 now. And now we're going to be doing a decrease for the last 2 stitches of our base and the first 2 of our strap. And we're going to do that all the way around. Grab the front loop, and these are the ones of the last 2 of our base. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. They became 1. We're going to do that again for the strap. So front loop, front loop, my gosh. Front loop. And then you're going to continue with your single crochets and meet back with me when you get to the other end. All right, and don't forget to put your stitch marker back in, and I'm going to count over 3 away. So it's exactly where I need it to be. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, we're going to do a decrease for the last 2 of the strap and then the first 2 of the base. And you're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. And you will be doing the same thing for 3 more rows. So now you know what to do for the last 3 rows.
I know some of you requested a written pattern and it will be released. I did want to include both sizes for one pattern. And that will be coming very soon, and I will be putting it in the description when it is available. If you enjoyed this video, then I just know you're gonna love my regular size market bag, or you can go ahead and click on my how to make a tassel. Go ahead and click on the tassel video, and I'm gonna have it down in the description. It's super cute, and you can make it for any bag you have, not just my market bags. Happy crocheting!